Cheonsu is a game streamer who lived an ordinary unemployed life. The scene begins with Cheonsu playing for the third time trying to survive in a zombie world. He has to get some useful weapon, and is going to open a supply box. He grabbed a baseball bat and said he was having a good day. Guns have limited bullets, and since they make loud noises, they draw aggro and attract zombies towards you. So Cheonsu's first choice of weapon if ever fall into a zombie apocalypse is a baseball bat. While seriously playing the game, a viewer sends him a donation of 1,001 and he thanks him while flanking upside down. He falls off his chair and immediately returns to his seat. He asked the viewer named Only One if he was satisfied with his reaction, and the viewer was asked what he was doing and said that his character died in the game. He apologized while laughing. He got a weapon and a save point anyway, and he got a donation, so it was good overall. Something appeared on his screen asking if he was going to continue the game with his save point, when his viewer suddenly asked him if he was still happy even though he had only one viewer. He replied he could still keep going because only one was watching. The viewer chatted again and asked, "Is that so? Then I will choose you." Cheonsu wondered what he was saying and he thanked him anyway for choosing him. Suddenly our protagonist heard an explosion from outside. He opened the window and was surprised to see buildings on fire and people running. He tried to turn on his computer, but there was no electricity, and he decided to go outside to check the situation. He met a woman, but she got scared and ran. A chat window suddenly appeared in front of him, and it seemed that those watching him were talking about him. It seemed that they were reacting to what he was saying. He thought he was going crazy when suddenly an undead appeared in front of him. Those who watched him seemed to be so happy that they even bet. When he was surprised, the zombie rushed at him and evaded it. He ran away, and he sped back to the elevator, but the zombie broke the glass. He just ran to the stairs. He wanted to go to his room, but the zombie was close to him. He wanted the zombie to widen the gap between the two of them. He reached the end of the rooftop, but the door was closed. He couldn't open the door. The people watching him argued with him about whether to push or pull the door open. When Cheonsu opened the door, the onlookers were disappointed that the door seemed fragile. He closed the door quickly and blocked it with his body. When he closed the door, he breathed a sigh of relief and wondered if the zombies were the culprit of the explosion. He said it wasn't fun, but when it was a game, he said it was fun, and he didn't care about the chat window. He has to get rid of the lone zombie that chased him so he can get to his room. He thinks he has to find anything to make a weapon. But when he looked behind him, he saw a zombie, his landlord. When he was about to run, he tripped over. The zombie rushed at him and wanted to bite him. He kicked him away. And he stood, and when the zombie rushed again, he avoided it and fell into the building. Those who watched him were amazed as if he did it on purpose, while others said it was just a coincidence. When he was able to breathe easy, the door suddenly slammed and there were 3 zombies who wanted to approach him. When he was surprised, he saw a box and his viewer said it was a supply box. He smiled and quickly opened the box. When he opened it, a baseball bat was exposed to him, and his followers congratulated him that it would help his situation. He held the bat tightly and 3 zombies rushed at him at the same time. He hit the zombie but didn't hit him, and he seemed to be panicking. He was laughed at by the onlookers and said he didn't have a fight. He couldn't swing the bat at his will, as if he was in a dream. He had to let go of a zombie behind him, and suddenly he fell down. He had the courage to cut the baseball bat. He rushed and he skewed the 3 zombies like a barbecue. The scene shifts to him returning home. It is said that the viewer did not expect him to escape. The other said he was on the edge of his seat. He took his cell phone, but it was not working properly, like his computer. The viewer asked him what he was going to do from now on, and he said he was going to his parents' house. He took the keys to his motorcycle and left. A viewer was getting impatient and asked if he was going to go far. He made something before he left, the viewer said, and the other asked what it was because he didn't see it. He was annoyed because if the viewers could speak, it would seem like they were in his situation. The whole downtown was chaotic and he needed to hurry because his motorcycle was about to run out of fuel when suddenly someone blocked his path and he fell down and hit his motorcycle. "Isn't that a tongue?" said his viewer. He turned to see what it was. And he saw that it was a big frog. He stopped and was surprised. Apart from the zombie, there was a monster like this big frog. The frog got ready and attacked him. Cheonsu avoided it and he ran away. His attack is only straight, so he has to avoid a straight path so he can get away. He has to go deeply into the alley. The faster he gets to the corner, the higher chance he has of avoiding the tongue attack. That thing seemed to be safe in his bag. He did it quickly before he left his house. He took it out, and it turned out to be a Molotov. He provoked the frog and it jumped on him. He got away. He lit the Molotov with a lighter and he threw it at the frog. He expected that one Molotov was not enough to take it out, so he threw a Molotov again. He took out one again, and just how many does he have? The viewer said. That was the last firebomb he had. He challenged the frog by shouting. The frog retaliated and attacked him. Cheonsu avoided it and threw the last bomb he had in the frog's mouth. The frog lost its balance and fell to the ground. While he bravely looked at the frog, his audience said that they had never seen anything like him. He stared at the frog and wondered if it was finished. The onlookers were amazed and said that they had never seen anything this good at the beginning of the game. Cheonsu saw this and thought that his life was at stake in the game alone. All of a sudden he was confused about whether it was reality or not, but he was not going to die stupidly, he said. And finally, he unlocks a skill aggro and record accumulation. He looked at the screen and realized that it was indeed a game. A skill window appeared in front of him. Aggro, 10 minutes. The more monsters aiming at you, the stronger you become. An additional 10% increase from the original physical ability per monster killed. Calculations are cumulative from start to end. Record accumulation. In the best aggro record, 10% of that gain is added to the basic physical ability. In other words, the original self is strengthened, and this figure is renewed every time the record is changed. He was amazed at the skill with which he seemed to want to lead him into the tiger's den, although it was perfect for him as a streamer. In the meantime, he has to set aside the thing that's making his head hurt and prioritize ensuring his family's safety. Thanks to that frog, the scooter is now dead, but since he's almost there, he can somehow walk there. He hopes that everyone is safe. When he arrived at his parents' house, the look in his eyes was like he was very surprised. The house was perhaps caught in a tornado? The viewer said. Cheonsu rushes inside the house while looking for his parents. He looks everywhere in the house, but they are not in the house. Aren't they already eaten? You crossing the line. Let's just say they went to America. The viewers said. Since his parents keep records well, they probably left a trace of something. He looked at every single corner of the house and found nothing. Finally, he went to his room. He saw a note from his mom that they were leaving with the soldier who stopped by. The unit was called the 7.5th Division. He was shocked that they were left with the military. The chapter is over here. Please like and subscribe. Celestial Manhwa if you like the story. The people watching him keep on chatting, wondering if he was really been abandoned by his parents. Something weird seems to be going on. He thinks that with his dad's personality, there's no way he'd leave first. He thinks that something's weird about this note. And he realized that the key element of the main story is to find the lead character of the game. There's a high chance that this scenario was arranged with that intention. Therefore, there's no use in being impatient this time. And there's only one clue in the 7.5 division. He looks into the cabinet and loots some tuna that is left in the cabinet. The viewers continue to chat as if they are talking about what he is doing. He needs to fill himself up and be ready to go. He might have nothing to do in this place anymore. While he was getting ready, he heard a sound, but he knew there was no zombie inside the house. He took a knife and walked slowly to where he heard the sound. He found out it was outside, and he opened the window. When he opened it, he was pulled by a zombie. He stabs the zombie's hand to get them to let go, and finally they let go. While he was shocked, the skill window showed that he activated aggro because of the zombies, a time limit of 10 minutes. The more monsters target you, the stronger you become. That is the kind of skill it is. He is strong and wants to try this skill. He opens the door slightly and he hits the zombies on the head. The skill aggregates 7 stacks and nearly ends, but before it ends, he has killed all the zombies, and the entrance of the house is a mess. A minute is still left before the skill runs out. It is really effective. When he suddenly hears a sound coming from the kitchen, there is another zombie. He will finish it in less than a minute. While he was searching, isn't that the tuna can? A viewer chatted. And then he finds a man hiding under the table. The scene shifts suddenly to the man cooking. The viewers will wonder what happened. Cheonsu, That son of a bitch is out of his mind, he's going to eat a dish cooked by a stranger? The viewers said. Go Cheonsu called the man brother and wondered if he was supposed to call him like that. He fought all the monsters and he is starving, he is going to fill his stomach anyway. But Cheonsu is ready no matter what happens, he is not easily fooled, you can see it in the look in his eyes. Cheonsu says if he were to threaten me and get in my way, then I'll ruthlessly. His sentences were stopped when suddenly the man finishes his cooking and serves it to Cheonsu. You'll ruthlessly what? Looking forward to it. The viewers chatted. The man said that he was working in Myeongseoru kitchen and they didn't have enough delivery men, so he came out instead to deliver food, but was suddenly attacked by the zombies. Cheonsu replied that he suffered because of the zombies he brought into the house. The man apologized to Cheonsu and begged him not to let him go because there were zombies outside. He's good at cooking anyway, so he will cook for Cheonsu to let him stay. He accepts the offer and eats and is planning to leave soon anyway. While they were eating, the man asked them where he was going. He said where he could get information, and asked him to come with him because Myeongseo Elementary School is just across from their restaurant. And he heard there's an evacuation center there. He could get information there and the man's colleagues might be there too. Cheonsu thought suddenly that the writer was the first person he encountered. He thought that if he was inside a game, then this guy might be an NPC, would give him clues and guide him to the story. He has decided to go with him and the man says his name is Jung Mingyu. They got up and got ready to leave. Cheonsu asked if Jamingying had a bike with him, but when a zombie attacked him, he left it behind. It's good that there is a bicycle in storage, they will try it if it still works. Mingyu will go to it. While Cheonsu is fixing the equipment, he is surprised when Mingyu screams that a titan monster is holding him and it is going to eat him. Mingyu, he was asking for help. The viewers told him that it was a big head, it's on a different level compared to zombies and frogs. That was the one who broke the house. The viewers told him to just leave it and ignore it. He took the bike and Cheonsu ran away. Mingyu stopped shouting and Cheonsu looked at the big head. The skill aggro was activated and the 10 minutes countdown was started. The big head is very fast and he doesn't know how to fight it. On the way he saw Mingyu's motorcycle, other zombies saw him and added to the aggro. He hoped the key was still there because he fell while riding the motorcycle. He got it. The motorcycle and its engine was still on. He succeeded in getting the motorcycle. The big head kept chasing him while he was thinking how he could escape it. And Cheonsu said he isn't easy to deal with. The scene moved to a policeman letting people into the school because they were going to build a barrier in the area. Soon a man stopped him because he said Mingyu hadn't come back, but the police said Mingyu might be dead and he gave up. The man got angry and said what if he is still alive and just around, they should wait a little longer. The man was calmed down by his friend and he said they went inside first because it was dangerous to wait outside the school. He agreed when they suddenly heard the sound of a motorcycle and the man was surprised to see Mingyu's motorcycle, but it was not Mingyu but Go Cheonsu riding the bike. People's eyes widened when they saw the big finger tied to Cheonsu's motorbike. The viewers are saying that Cheonsu is an attention seeker. The man who was looking for Mingyu asked Cheonsu where he was. He immediately said that Mingyu was dead. He was busy, so he immediately looked for who was in charge there. Lee Seo-jun replied that he was the head of the security transportation department. He said that they have a chief, but he is in charge there. Cheonsu introduced himself to the officer and said that they were surprised that Cheonsu brought the corpse of the big head. Cheonsu found out that the officer already knew about the big head. The officer asked him what happened to this monster and Cheonsu immediately replied that he killed it. Can be seen on the faces of the people that they were surprised by Cheonsu's words. People wondered how he killed the big monster. The scene switches to a throwback. Cheonsu challenges the viewers to a bet. He bets his life that if he kills the monster the viewers will do a favor that Cheonsu asks, and if he fails, he will die. The viewer agreed to this bet and Cheonsu started to accelerate his motorcycle to a speed of 120 km per hour. At this speed the big head was chasing him. He passed through the tunnel and the big head hit the tunnel and it died immediately. The scene shifted to their conversation with the police officer. He said he needed to be inspected first, but the people were happy to know that he killed the big head, so they asked if he could go first. While inspecting Cheonsu, the viewers were talking about whether the big head died naturally. When the inspection on Cheonsu was over, the man called him again, asking if his Jung Mingyu was really dead. Cheonsu said that he was really dead and did he know Mingyu. He introduced himself as the owner of the place where Mingyu worked. Mingyu said that the two of them should have gone to the evacuation, but it didn't happen because of that monster. Cheonsu told the man that he shouldn't worry because he didn't steal the motorcycle from Mingyu and he would never forget the last Mapo tofu that it did for him. The viewers co-commented that Cheonsu is getting good at acting and says he ate the tofu, threatening Mingyu. The man was teary-eyed when Cheonsu left. When Cheonsu was leaving, he crossed the line and a notice appeared in front of him: "You have left the tutorial. From now on, you can increase your chances of survival by using the stats window. Good luck to the last man standing." Everything that happened was just a tutorial and the viewers kept commenting. When Cheonsu entered the building, Cheonsu wanted to talk to only one. Viewers wonder who only one is when he suddenly starts chatting. "You want to talk to me?" Cheonsu answered, "Yes, my only viewer." The viewers were surprised that the bet was not for them but for only one, and the viewers asked Cheonsu if he read the explanation at the beginning, but he said nothing. Viewers are curious about how he reached this point without a clear initial explanation. He has now been informed that if he completes the game, he can shape the world according to his preferences. The current contemplation revolves around the nature of the world he inhabits. Surprisingly, it is the very world he used to live in is reality, transformed by something called My Exit. At this point, Cheonsu exclaims that this is truly a game. However, he imparts a crucial reminder: he is the sole participant in this game. The reason behind this exclusivity is the preference for observing a single individual at a time. He is the chosen protagonist, uniquely capable of perceiving the observers. The truth about this world remains hidden from everyone else. They have been remodeled into non-player characters, NPCs, to fit the framework of the game. Continuing, Cheonsu confirms that even Minute Gyu was one of these recreated NPCs. These characters, for the most part, serve as background figures. Only one reassures him, drawing a parallel between themselves and the viewers not fundamentally dissimilar. Suddenly, Cheonsu demands, "Just who the heck are you?" In response, he asks if he's become something akin to a deity. He watched himself in the mirror and only one replied, "That's a funny question. In all the games you played, did the characters ask you that question?" In the midst of their enigmatic exchange, only one's voice resonated with a hint of admiration. "Well, just know this. I like your illogical showmanship. You also know it, don't you? I'm not someone who will betray you. Now, I want you to struggle as much as you can." Cheonsu responded with a wry smile, "You gave quite an overwhelming mission to an unemployed guy." Interrupting the conversation with an intrigued tone, Cheonsu added, "Wait, I can use the info window from now on, right?" As if a curtain were being lifted on a new chapter, a piece of vital information appeared. Information 1: The police chief at Myeongseo Elementary School needs protection. Tonight, when he dies from a crisis, the city's public order will be rapidly ruined. Inside the school field they gathered with the gate closed. While everyone was preparing food supplies, it seemed that Cheonsu is looking for something else. He was looking for the police chief. The fear that is felt on the faces of the people can be seen. The police then announced that they could eat now and lined up to get food, but the police noticed that Cheonsu was going to somewhere else. He said that he wasn't hungry yet. He approached the police who were guarding the building and he wanted to talk, and he was looking for the police chief. The guard answered but said he couldn't say where he was. Cheonsu asked why, but the guard still didn't say it. A viewer's chat appeared that suspicious. Cheonsu thought something was going on inside the building. Cheonsu said he could help if he told him where the chief was. The guard now gets a walkie-talkie and someone answers. He asks if Cheonsu came to hunt monsters. Cheonsu says yes, but the guard says it's true, they are looking for people who have the ability to kill monsters, but the chief police is missing. He hasn't returned after going out, so they are planning to conduct a search. Cheonsu asked why they didn't search for him earlier, but the guard said they were busy protecting the evacuees and there were only 30 officers left. Cheonsu asked if he could see the office of the chief police, and he said that he was not hiding anything from Cheonsu because from now on they will help each other. Time is running out, and since they are both looking for the chief police, he needs information. He has been allowed to go to the chief's temporary office. When he got here, he asked his viewers for help, but they didn't want to help. He saw a map on the whiteboard and on the table. There was a mark on the map and it wasn't far, but suddenly there was someone standing outside the door. He came in and said he heard a story that Cheonsu can kill monsters. He introduced himself as Inspector Jin Kyongo. Cheonsu shook his hand and introduced himself, and suddenly his facial expression changed. They heard screams outside. Cheonsu asked what was going on. Suddenly an infected person appeared. It bit people and started chasing them. They started infecting them and causing chaos already. Cheonsu took his hammer and helped kill the zombies. In the middle of the chaos, a policeman yelled for them to stay away because they couldn't use their guns because they were close together. Cheonsu replied that they should use clubs instead of guns. Behind the police, a man yelled at Cheonsu that he wanted to help. He was carrying a pan, and it turned out to be Mr. Jang. Mr. Jang is the owner of the restaurant where Mingyu worked. His friend yelled at him that it was too dangerous, but he didn't stop. He angrily hit the zombie and said because of them Mingyu died. Cheonsu now helped him and hit the zombie again. Cheonsu asked why he didn't finish the zombie. He said, Mr. Jang said, in that case, I will be the only one left with the last hit. It's getting messy and people want to get out. They want the police to open the gate so they can get out, but it calms them down. Cheonsu suddenly wondered what the inspection was for. He wondered how a zombie was there. It didn't come in from the outside. What crazy bastard would let a zombie in? The viewers chat about who the villain is this time. Cheonsu is sure that this is one of the police. Cheonsu's head hurts and he doesn't want this anymore. He just needs to find the chief to end this. He called Mr. when he said that he would watch the police if he did anything strange while he was gone and that he would not join the search party to find the chief. Jang asks why and for what. Cheonsu replies that he doesn't have time to explain and is doing it to make up for Mingyu. Please believe me if you want to survive this. Cheonsu decided to leave that place, but the police stopped him from leaving. The police said he would just leave even if he agreed to help the police. A policeman stopped him again and Cheonsu removed the police hand and he left. He took the motorcycle in front of Jang's restaurant and left. The viewers asked him where he was going and he said he was going to the place marked on the map. He arrived at the place but there was no one there. He started to look around the place but all he saw were footprints from many people or animals. And all of a sudden Cheonsu asked his viewers why he doesn't get supply boxes anymore. The viewers replied that you don't want a supply box and Cheonsu didn't agree with it. In the middle of the ranting of Cheonsu, the viewers replied, shouldn't you be buying the supply box, you need money to buy it. Viewers told him that he doesn't remember the 1 zen he received in the trial. He used it to open a supply box, and the viewer told him to open the chat window and scroll to the end of it. He saw cash chat turned off, and viewers told him to turn it on. Only one has sponsored you with 1 zen. Congratulations on officially opening a wallet. Maxed Out has sponsored you with 1 zen. And I thought he wouldn't open it. Tungguyanyanek has sponsored you with 1 zen. Lick. Cheonsu grabbed his neck as if he were depressed and shouted, how can you hide something this important from me? Chapter 5 ends here. Did you like the story? Please like the video, subscribe to our channel, comment down below your thoughts, and share it if you love the recap. Thank you for your support. Now he entered the container house and it seemed that his viewers were teasing him. He told them that they thought he would get angry easily and that he would not hold a grudge, and the viewers replied, he's holding a grudge. We can see the truth in your eyes. LOL, he's upset. He thought to himself that maybe they haven't told him everything yet, maybe there are still things he doesn't know. While he was thinking deeply about where the chief is, suddenly he was surprised and screamed because a zombie's face appeared in front of him who activated the aggro while he was still being teased by the viewers. It can be seen outside that many zombies are approaching the container house and adding to the stacks of his aggro skill. He is annoyed and he kicks one of the zombies and he is able to get the attention of the other zombies again. He punched one of the zombies and the viewer told him that there was one behind him. He dodged and he faced the zombie as if he was angry. His aggro skill has 14 stacks and with 8 minutes left his physical ability growth rate is 240%. He continues to fight the zombies that surround him. In the middle of their fight, a car suddenly appeared and seemed to want to run him over. The police noticed that the zombies seemed to be no match for him. Cheonsu said that this is the crazy cop inside the elementary school. He wanted him out of the car and he provokes but he ran over him and he dodged. The police were surprised where Cheonsu was and suddenly he appeared beside the policeman. He breaks the car window and drags the police but he resists. He shoots Cheonsu and Cheonsu bends down to avoid the bullet. The man drove the car at high speed and fled, but when the police looked at him in the mirror, he saw Cheonsu chasing him even though he was at a speed of 80 km per hour. He wondered how Cheonsu was chasing him. He turned and seemed to hide in the truck containers. Cheonsu shouted police name Jin Kyung-ho. The car stopped and Kyung-ho pressed something. Suddenly the doors of the containers opened and they contained a lot of zombies. The zombies came out and the viewers commented that he was fooled and fell into a trap and told him that if he doesn't think he can do it then he runs. The aggro skill has 40 stacks and only 2 minutes left. When he was surrounded by zombies, Cheonsu spoke to the viewers and said, "Brothers, I will fight them in 2 minutes." Cheonsu's physical ability growth rate reached 500%. The fight started and he hit the zombie with a hammer. He continued to kill them, punching, kicking, hitting and pushing them so that he could escape. In the middle of the fight he saw the car that had not gone far. He pushed the zombie in front of him and he went to the car. He chased him and grabbed the policeman by his clothes. He asked the policeman where the chief was, but the policeman was about to pull out a gun and it fell. The viewer chatted that Cheonsu would take the left hand. He got it. He broke the hands of the policeman and kicked him. The police passed out and he took the handcuffs. The viewers dare him to put it to him and escape and they will give him a reward as Zen, but he did not accept the offer and uses the handcuffs on the police. He started the car and he drove it. He ran over the zombies that would block his way and realized that at the beginning the info window said where the chief was. He just didn't notice it right away. The police chief was, as written on the information window, and Myeongseo Elementary from the beginning. Information 1. The police chief at Myeongseo Elementary School needs protection. Tonight, when he dies from a crisis, the city's public order will be rapidly ruined. He no longer needs to go to the place where he is. While he was driving, Cheonsu suddenly screamed when he saw a teddy bear walking on the road and he ran over. He was laughed at by the viewers watching him. Cheonsu was surprised and told the audience that it was a stuffed animal and suddenly it stood up again. After the teddy bear stood up, it ran away. Our hero was left wondering what it was. Was it a monster? Only one answered him what he saw. It was only a bear. It's a bit different from regular monsters. It works as a guide to supply boxes. And because of that explanation, he realized that there was a supply box nearby. But suddenly the police officer who fell asleep woke up. Cheonsu talked to the viewers and asked them to choose between 2 options. First, tell Jin Kyung-ho to go back to sleep nicely. Second, make him go to sleep using a taser. The comment section was filled with answer 1, but Cheonsu still made option 2 and a viewer said that the voting was rigged. He used the taser and put the police to sleep. He got out of the car and followed the teddy bear to the supply box. This supply box is his second supply box. It costs 5 zens. That's a bit expensive. It doesn't seem to be a weapon based on that shield mark. The viewers told him to go back to the car if he didn't open it, but suddenly, he opened it and the flashlight was the item on the box. He is disappointed that he spent 5 zen on a flashlight. The viewers are teasing him and he has decided to leave and go back to the school where the chief of police is. While he was going back, he was worried if the owner of the restaurant was okay. The scene moved to 3 policemen talking about how they entered and had a zombie inside the school despite the strictness of their inspection. While the 3 police were talking, the police department Lee Seo-jun spoke to calm everyone down and said that there was no problem with the inspection because he himself was in charge. He said to just think that it brought bad luck and the other policemen agreed with him. Outside the school building 2 policemen are talking and they are talking about where Jin Kyung-ho is. They had to move the chief because of Cheonsu. It said that there was something different about Cheonsu from the very beginning. The police said that the 3 of them were conspirators in the plan. In the distance Jang was listening. He heard everything the police were talking about while he was hiding. He thought he had to find Cheonsu and tell him these things. Outside the school, 2 police officers saw Jin Kyung-ho's car. They pointed a flashlight at it and looked inside. They saw that the inspector was unconscious inside the car. The scene switches to Jang running away so no one can see him and he is looking for Cheonsu when they suddenly meet on the stairs. He said that he just came back. Cheonsu asked Jang if he saw or knew anything. He grabbed Cheonsu's shoulder and said he knew everything. Jang told the story of the police chief and the department chief Lee Seo-jun are down in the basement. The one guarding the main building is also mixed up with them. Cheonsu went to the basement and hid in the door. He saw that the chief was tied up and Lee Seo-jun punched him. It can be seen on the chief's face that he was beaten and Lee Seo-jun pointed a taser at him. The viewer chatted, Cheonsu, won't you pass out if you get hit by that? Start with a dropkick and I'll give you 1 zen. While Cheonsu was hiding, he got ready. He did the drop kick and hit Lee Seo-jun. He splashed and hit the tables. Cheonsu received a zen from Maxadat. When he came back, he was about to get a gun. Cheonsu grabbed his hand and Cheonsu kneed him in the face. He shot at him but no one hit him. While they were trying to seize the gun, Cheonsu punched the police in the face for capturing the chief and he punched him again for his hard work. Look at how you messed him up, you bastard. Cheonsu asks Seo-jun for the key to release the chief, but he wants to fight and is about to take the taser from behind him when Cheonsu precedes him and says that he is not the only one with the taser, but he too used the taser until the police almost lost consciousness. The viewers told him to finish off the police. Seo-jun, after that, he predicted that another policeman was going to the scene. But he hid behind the door and took a gun from his pocket. When the police entered, he immediately shot him without warning. Fucking backstabber. Wow, fuck, I got goosebumps. It's the main building's guard. The viewers are commenting. Cheonsu, so this was your plan all along? Look at him shooting point blank. And of course, he hit the bullseye. Scary. The viewers were happy with what was done and it donated zens to Cheonsu. He received 4 zen from the viewers. When Cheonsu was proud, he put out his 2 hands while receiving the donations from the viewers. After he killed the police, he turned his gaze to the officer who was sitting on the side. He approached him and the viewers were excited about what was going to happen. He pointed the gun at him and he couldn't decide whether to shoot him in the legs, the chest or the head. The police officer was scared with 1 shot, but he didn't know how many times he had shot Cheonsu. A viewer Tungwianunek has sponsored you with 1 zen. Lick. You can see the facial expression on Cheonsu's face that he was grateful for the donation. The chapter ends with the police officer shouting, Cheonsu did not cause harm to the unfortunate police officer who had an embarrassing accident. While a conversation buzzed outside the building, Cheonsu emerged with the weakened police chief, whom he had rescued from his captors. With the chief's safety ensured, Cheonsu directed a fellow officer to the basement, where they found the captors already restrained. Our hero exhaled a sigh of relief, observing people attending to the wounded. He checked his information window, which cautioned him against remaining in one location for too long due to potential danger. The scene shifted to Cheonsu resting in a room, where he enjoyed the benefits of being well fed by the police for his heroic efforts. Curiosity lingered in his mind, wondering how long he should stay in this place according to the information window. Viewers offered vague hints, suggesting perhaps 1 or 2 days or waiting for a sign. Frustrated by their ambiguity, Cheonsu inquired about the consequences of staying in one place for too long, only to receive evasive responses. Despite some viewers' occasional helpfulness, Cheonsu realized he couldn't depend on them entirely. He left his resting spot and encountered the police chief, asking if he was departing. The chief replied that he wasn't leaving yet, intending to prepare supplies for Cheonsu as a token of gratitude. However, Cheonsu was taken aback when the chief revealed his intention to expel the individual who had attempted to kill him. Reluctant to harm his fellow officers, Cheonsu volunteered to handle the matter himself. The chief was shocked, and the scene transitioned to Cheonsu driving a car with the 2 traitorous policemen bound. As the car moved at a modest 20 km per hour, zombies chased behind, prompting a viewer's excitement and a donation. Unfortunately, the zombies eventually caught up and devoured the 2 traitors. Cheonsu regretfully accelerated the car, but the ropes had already been cut, and the 2 had turned into zombies. Cheonsu couldn't help but smile as he glanced back at the unfortunate turn of events. The chief expressed his gratitude for Cheonsu's actions, and Cheonsu downplayed his heroism. The chief offered the car to Cheonsu and asked him to bid farewell to his colleagues before leaving. After the police departed, Cheonsu remained in the vehicle, pondering the use of a flashlight. Viewers provided advice and encouragement. Deciding to rest, Cheonsu drifted off to sleep but woke up to a chilling cold and a surreal sight, a skull soaring through the air. Viewers chatted excitedly about the ominous presence, seemingly recognizing it. As the skull drew closer, Cheonsu swiftly started the car and left the school, feeling regretful for not bidding farewell. However, the skull reappeared unexpectedly, teleporting itself. Cheonsu, attempting to stay fearless due to his experience with horror games, received teasing comments from viewers who sensed his fear. The viewers advised him to distance himself, but the skull blocked his path, causing him to crash into a pole. He brandished a gun and fired at the flying skull, but the shots missed. He fled into a nearby building, catching his breath as viewers expressed disappointment with this turn of events. The skull screeched and charged at him, prompting Cheonsu to use his flashlight and gun to fend it off. After a struggle, he managed to shoot the skull effectively, earning Zen from the counselor. As he taunted the skull from a window, the counselor jokingly referred to the Zen as condolence money, irritating Cheonsu. He stumbled over a bicycle, blaming the counselor, while viewers likened him to a video game player blaming their teammate. As the skull closed in again, Cheonsu aimed his flashlight and gun, forcing it to retreat with repeated shots. Realizing the skull's territory was limited to the air, he continued to shoot until it perished. Exhausted but victorious, he bid the skull farewell, calling it a noob bastard, and collapsed from fatigue. As Cheonsu rested, he noticed a distant light approaching. Instantly, he prepared his gun and concealed himself. When the light drew nearer, he emerged from hiding, gun trained on the approaching man, who raised his hands in surrender. The stranger inquired if Cheonsu was a police officer, seeking assistance. Cheonsu, wary of the situation, inquired if the man was alone, and he confirmed he was. With a sense of urgency, Cheonsu wrested the flashlight from the man's possession. He also demanded the man's bag, though the man protested that it contained only emergency food. Reluctantly, the man handed over the meager supplies. As he prepared to leave, the man expressed a desire to take some of his clothing. Suspecting the man might have companions due to the dangers of traveling alone, Cheonsu pretended to depart, instructing viewers to observe the man's reaction as he turned away. Viewers questioned his intentions, wondering if he was merely testing the man's honesty. As they were about to part ways, the man suddenly cried out, confessing that he had abandoned his classmates, leading to their deaths. Overwhelmed by guilt, he believed he should have perished alongside them. Viewers sympathized with the man, sensing his sincerity. Cheonsu asked if he was truthful, and the man affirmed his confession. Reluctantly, Cheonsu decided to take the man, whose name was Young Minchul, with him. He couldn't abandon a junior in such dire circumstances. Cheonsu soon noticed monsters following Minchul, including a big-headed creature and a frog-like one. They ran, with Minchul guiding their path, cautioning about a nearby construction site. Remarkably, Cheonsu observed that Minchul had an exceptional memory, recalling every detail of their journey. Upon reaching the under-construction road, they navigated the edges to avoid pursuit, narrowly escaping a near capture as the big-headed creature fell. Ahead, the large frog attacked, prompting Cheonsu to signal them to crouch, successfully evading the threat. The frog hits the big head by accident and the two fight. Minchul remembered a bicycle shop nearby, impressing Cheonsu with his quick thinking. They obtained a two-person bicycle, and as they rode, Minchul noticed that Cheonsu wasn't pedaling but pretending to do so. Minchul shared information about a mysterious unit called the 7.5th Division, believing it to be a military group. Cheonsu acknowledged hearing of it but lacked detailed knowledge, raising questions about his father's fate. Finally, they arrived at the location Minchul had mentioned, but a military jeep approached them from behind. Cheonsu swerved to avoid it, narrowly escaping a collision. The jeep contained a soldier, and viewers questioned if he might be a zombie. Cheonsu clarified that he wasn't but decided to remove the soldier from the vehicle. Disappointed by the absence of AK-2 rifle, Cheonsu grew annoyed at the damaged jeep. Tensions escalated as the soldier brandished a knife, demanding Cheonsu's departure. However, Cheonsu counterattacked, disarming the soldier and pressing him about his military background. The soldier claimed that everyone in his unit was dead, explaining his presence. Cheonsu, skeptical of the man's story, inquired further. Minchul also questioned the soldier's authenticity, and Cheonsu challenged him to provide his military service number, testing his credibility. After the soldier recited his military service number, Cheonsu still harbored doubts. He queried the soldier about the 7.5th Division unit, but the soldier claimed ignorance. Minchul warned them of the danger of their current location and their inability to linger for long. Agreeing, Cheonsu started to leave, but the soldier halted them. Initially, Cheonsu believed they no longer needed the soldier's assistance. However, Minchul advocated for taking him along, mentioning the soldier's fractured legs. Cheonsu, somewhat annoyed due to the earlier refusal, questioned the soldier's sincerity. Viewers commented on Cheonsu's personality emerging, and some suggested leaving the soldier behind. Cheonsu entered the facility and checked the gates manually, suspecting that the electricity was not functioning. He contemplated taking the soldier with them, acknowledging his inability to walk alone. Minchul welcomed this decision, and they proceeded into the expansive facility. Observing only 4 parked cars outside, Cheonsu wondered why the gate remained closed if people had left with the vehicles. Cautioning viewers about the possibility of other survivors in the facility, Cheonsu entered the building, finding it eerily quiet and scattered with papers. They proceeded to a clinic to provide the soldier with crutches, and Cheonsu decided to leave them there while he investigated the upper floors. While ascending the stairs, Cheonsu inquired about viewers' opinions on leaving Minchul behind. Viewers noted Minchul's knowledge of the area and expressed concerns about his safety if left alone. As Cheonsu explored, he stumbled upon a room with equipment and a radio, discovering that the electricity remained operational. The radio broadcast a message indicating that Jeju Island was safe, and the 7.5th Division recommended leaving their current location and taking a train to Daejeon. Cheonsu eagerly opened the information window and learned it was dangerous to remain in one place. He swiftly returned to the clinic to find Minchul missing, hearing loud noises from the basement. Annoyed that the soldier had let Minchul go alone, Cheonsu called out for him not to leave Minchul by himself. Cheonsu then began searching for car keys to facilitate their escape. He combed through the office but couldn't locate the keys. While in search of the keys, he heard a noise and found the soldier on the ground, seeking assistance to stand. Cheonsu questioned why the soldier was there, and he explained that he had heard a noise and ventured out. Shortly after, they heard footsteps on the stairs, and a man held Minchul at knife point. Minchul urged Cheonsu to let him go to avoid harm, but Cheonsu hesitated, demanding the man identify himself. The man suspected Minchul and Cheonsu of being thieves and intruders in the facility. He mentioned being overwhelmed by calls and having insufficient drivers, which was why the keys were missing. Cheonsu realized that the man was likely the reason the car keys were unaccounted for. The soldier worried that the man might be unstable and could harm Minchul. Cheonsu expressed his frustration with the soldier for letting Minchul go alone. He attempted to negotiate with the man, claiming that they were not thieves but rather driver applicants. Cheonsu requested an application form, pretending he had left it in the office. He instructed the soldier to fetch it, assuring the boss that his friend would retrieve it. The man agreed, impressed that someone still sought employment as a driver amidst the chaos. As the soldier returned with the application form, he whispered to Cheonsu to get closer to his appearance. When the man released Minchul to inspect the application form, Cheonsu and Minchul seized the opportunity to attack him from behind. Cheonsu took the soldier's crutches and incapacitated the man, ordering Minchul to hold him steady while they searched for the car keys. Once they found the keys, they rushed to the car and prepared to depart. The soldier questioned why he had to drive, and Cheonsu explained that he could still drive with his left foot. Their plan was to reach the train station, leaving the driving to the soldier. However, as they were about to depart, they noticed people running outside the facility, panicked by the appearance of a massive, four-legged, long-necked monster known as a crawler. Minchul and Yongjin were shocked, while Cheonsu expressed his trust in Yongjin's abilities. Yongjin's fearful expression was apparent as they drew the monster's attention, and it was closing in for an attack. They started the car and swiftly maneuvered it, with the boss of the company they had encountered earlier used as a decoy. They lured the monster into the main building and sped away just before it collided with the structure. Yongjin couldn't believe the decision Cheonsu had made, but Minchul reassured him that it was the best course of action to ensure their survival. While on the road, Cheonsu noticed a blue line on the road, and as they crossed it, an informational message appeared, stating that they had left a certain jurisdiction. A mission-setting function was introduced for the viewers, allowing them to purchase various effects as mission success rewards. One viewer mentioned it was time for Handachogwa to shine, and Cheonsu checked his window for any new functions, finding none. Suddenly, Handachogwa donated a gem with a message about training Cheonsu, though Cheonsu only pretended to be appreciative. As Cheonsu peeked out of the car window, he noticed the crawler still chasing them, dangerously close. He urged Yongjin to accelerate, but they were already at top speed. Cheonsu realized the monster was faster in a straight run. He inquired if Minchul was familiar with the area, and while uncertain, Minchul recalled a hill ahead. However, he also understood the car would slow down on the uphill road. Nonetheless, they followed Minchul's guidance, with Minchul urging them to hurry to avoid danger. As they neared the hill, they suddenly saw a cliff ahead. Cheonsu instructed Yongjin to continue driving straight since the crawler struggled with sudden stops. Cheonsu feared for their lives, asking viewers for a mission to help them survive. Some viewers bid farewell, while others wanted to donate gems to keep Cheonsu alive. Then, a mission appeared from Handachogwa, requiring Cheonsu to throw himself out of the window with the reward of preventing the vehicle from moving for 15 seconds. Cheonsu was angry, but he did the mission anyway. He asked how he could sleep after doing things like that to him. Cheonsu jumped a little and approached the car door. Minchul asked him what he was doing, and after some ranting he finished the mission. Mission has been completed. Your force has been validated. Cheonsu smiled happily and Yongjin said to all of them to hang on. He drifts the car, and they hear the sound of the tire as it turns. And suddenly the crawler falls into the cliff and they survive. The car stopped and Yongjin couldn't believe that they survived. They breathed a sigh of relief and Cheonsu thanked Handachogwa. He replied and says, "You've got to repay me for saving your life." The scene shifted to their arrival at Seoul Station, where Cheonsu expected to find a gathering of people around the radio. To their surprise, the station was empty. They parked the car nearby and noticed zombies lurking around. Cheonsu decided to act as a decoy to draw the zombies' attention while allowing Yongjin and Minchul to reach the station safely. He draws the attention of the zombies and his skill aggro activated with a 3 stacks in it. The cumulative enhancement increased to 1.4, at first it started with 1, that means the system help it start at a higher number. He needs to properly increase that skill one day, he says. He start to engage the zombies. He stabbed the zombie in the neck, he kicked the other one, and then he stabbed it in the face. There was a zombie behind him and he says he didn't forget about him and he stabbed it to the neck. The viewers were amazed that Cheonsu is different if they look back at his first fight with zombies. Cheonsu asked why they are bringing his dark past. His physical strength and reflexes definitely improved. But he needs to properly make use of his cumulative enhancement skill. While walking, he heard someone calling out for help and mentioning the name Jong Chang-guk, which Cheonsu thought might be the mayor's name. He asked viewers whether he should help the man or not, with some viewers opposing the idea but Handachogwa was supporting it. Cheonsu ultimately decided to save the man, stealthily dispatching the zombie behind him. The man appeared genuinely frightened and relieved by Cheonsu's intervention. The man mentioned that his partner had abandoned him, prompting Cheonsu to inquire if he was referring to the mayor. In response, the man explained that they had initially been en route to the station but had to change their path due to the monster's presence. He also mentioned hearing about a revolt and wanting to investigate it personally. Cheonsu understood the situation and assumed that the mayor might also be headed in their direction, given his numerous bodyguards. He questioned if the man was referring to his co-worker, to which the man replied that not everyone was part of the mayor's entourage. There were some individuals he didn't recognize, likely external personnel. Cheonsu acknowledged the information as helpful. As they reached the front of the station, everything appeared normal. The man wondered if the mayor had already entered the station, expressing relief if that were the case. Then he asked Younghan if they should proceed inside. Realizing he hadn't introduced himself yet, Cheonsu shared his name with the man. As they ascended the stairs, they spotted a woman at the top. Younghan attempted to get her attention, but Cheonsu swiftly covered his mouth, suspecting that a young girl wouldn't be alone in this situation. Viewers discussed their suspicions regarding this mysterious monster, and Cheonsu inquired about the potential danger it posed. Despite his request for an immediate mission, the viewers initially disagreed. However, Handachogwa generously donated 100 gems to request a mission. This significant donation amounted to 1 million won, given the 10,000 won value of each gem. With his hand removed from Young-han's face, Cheonsu encouraged him to speak softly, recognizing that the creature did not seem human. When the silent girl heard a sound inside the station, it promptly headed toward the source. Young-han was reluctant to continue their plan of entering the station, and in his fear, he began to run. Unfortunately, he tripped and fell, leading to the appearance of another silent girl. Tragically, Young-han was killed by this creature. Viewers explained that the silent girl, being blind, could only detect sound. Upon hearing another sound from inside the station, Cheonsu saw the silent girl slowly approaching him. At this moment, new Master of Fortune requested a mission, and a mission window materialized. The mission required Cheonsu to remain silent until the silent girl passed by. In return, he would gain the ability to make an opponent lose their hearing once, with a 1-minute time limit. Cheonsu diligently followed the mission's instructions, holding his breath as the silent girl passed by, only to exhale with relief when she moved on. He completed the mission just as the silent girl departed. As she approached Young-han's lifeless body, she had savagely taken his life. He searched the corpse, and a curious onlooker questioned his actions, wondering why he hadn't entered the building yet. Spotting a business card in the dead man's pocket, he decided it might come in handy and pocketed it. When he turned away, he was shocked to see Young-han's lifeless body unexpectedly rise to its feet. It was a surprise to Cheonsu that the silent girl possessed the power to transform her victims into zombies. In response, he swiftly struck the reanimated corpse. Continuing toward the station, Cheonsu felt uncertain about what awaited him there. Suddenly, a scream echoed from a nearby room. Yongjin urgently told Minchul to hurry because a zombie was outside the door. Cheonsu hesitated, initially considering not intervening since he would gain nothing from saving them. However, a mission suddenly appeared. New Master of Fortune had requested a reward mission to rescue young Minchul and Jo Youngjin from the bathroom, offering 20 gems as a reward. This incentive convinced Cheonsu to change his mind and embark on a rescue mission. Upon entering a fast food chain, Cheonsu prepared for the operation he termed the Suicide Watch operation. Meanwhile, Minchul and Youngjin were attempting to escape the silent girl by climbing the bathroom's border while the creature scratched the wall. Cheonsu arrived and used a noisy watch to divert the zombie's attention away from them. The aggro skill activated and the zombie rushed at him. He runs as fast as he can. When the zombies reached outside, he threw the watch away and the zombies chased it. When the place was safe, Cheonsu entered and Minchul came down and told Youngjin to come down too. He thought they will die. A viewer asked Cheonsu why didn't he use the reward skill just now. He said no because it was dangerous. The condition of the skill is to get contact. He thought that if he gets attacked by that monster he could turn into pieces. When Youngjin got down he called Cheonsu and said his crutches were broken. Cheonsu asked Minchul to help him and don't forget to lower their voice. An info window appeared. You have completed the mission, you have received your reward, you need to pay cash to check the information window. Cheonsu sensed something amiss in Youngjin's behavior. He appeared to gain newfound bravery, as though he were turning into a zombie himself. Cheonsu soon realized that Youngjin's leg injury had been caused by a zombie bite. He felt frustrated, as despite their efforts, it seemed Youngjin would ultimately become a zombie. Consequently, Cheonsu separated Minchul from Youngjin, leaving him behind, as there was nothing they could do for him. As they contemplated their next move, Youngjin pointed at the station's schedule of arrivals and departures, suggesting that it held some significance. He glanced at the announcement board and saw that there was only a minute left until the train arrived. At that moment, he made a silent promise to himself to remember Youngjin, with the intention of repaying him someday after successfully completing the game. With this resolve in mind, they patiently waited for the train on the platform. Cheonsu confided in Minchul, stating that he also had no desire to die. He emphasized the need for caution when the train arrived, as its arrival would likely attract more zombies. As the train approached a little later, Cheonsu called out to Minchul and instructed him to hide inside a nearby trash can. The train passed swiftly, not stopping at the station, and inadvertently caught the attention of the crawler. Surprisingly, another train arrived immediately after the bullet train had passed. Cheonsu realized that the first train had been deliberately used as bait, allowing them to safely board this unexpected Mugunghwa Ho train. This slower-tier train made stops at various towns and villages. Cheonsu advised Minchul to remain put while he surveyed their surroundings, reassuring him that he wouldn't leave him behind. As Cheonsu cautiously walked along the train track, he spotted a familiar face, a woman he had seen in the news. This woman, Jang Se-yeon, had apprehended a pickpocket and had some knowledge of martial arts. She had come to the station while waiting for the mayor. Se-yeon explained that she had been directed to do so by the 7th Division, and by doing this, she hoped to secure entry to a shelter. Cheonsu noticed that she seemed different from her previous interview appearance. Minchul contemplated attacking Se-yeon, assuming that she and Cheonsu were a team of two, believing they could manipulate her. He gestured to Cheonsu with a finger, indicating that there was only one opponent, and then closed his hand to signal his intent to attack. However, Se-yeon noticed Cheonsu and inquired about his identity. Minchul began his attack, but Cheonsu intervened, preventing the assault. He explained that they were on the same team and then handed Young-han's business card to Se-yeon. Se-yeon noticed that Young-han was from the city hall, and Cheonsu revealed the grim truth about the mayor's fate, explaining that they had been attacked by monsters en route, leaving them as the last survivors. Realizing the urgency, Cheonsu emphasized the need to disembark before the monsters caught up with them. However, Se-yeon was reluctant to leave, as she was waiting for the mayor. Cheonsu assured her that he was the only one with information about the mayor's situation and vowed to do everything in his power to help. When Se-yeon finally began boarding the train, Cheonsu suggested bringing Minchul along, despite his status as a student rather than a city hall employee. Touched by pity, Se-yeon agreed to allow Minchul to join them. As the train started moving, three men suddenly appeared on the platform: the mayor and his staff. Cheonsu observed their desperate attempts to stop the train so they could board. When Se-yeon heard the commotion, she stepped off the train and encountered the mayor. Cheonsu inquired whether she could see the entity pursuing them, cautioning that if they didn't increase the train's speed, it would soon catch up to them. Faced with a difficult decision, Cheonsu and Se-yeon left the mayor behind. Just before his tragic demise at the hands of the silent girl, the mayor provided a password: the end. Cheonsu turned to the viewers, seeking their validation for their actions, which they readily provided. Se-yeon engaged in conversation with them, insisting that they explain themselves to avoid being thrown off the train. She grew increasingly upset with Cheonsu, questioning why he had impersonated City Hall personnel. Cheonsu clarified that he had only handed her the card without claiming to be the person on it. Despite her frustration, Se-yeon was swayed when Cheonsu explained how he had obtained the card and that the mayor had ultimately abandoned Young-han, prompting their departure. "But you lied to me," Se-yeon said. "They are free riding." But Se-yeon said this in the interview that free rider has a reason. That young passenger can also have unspeakable circumstances. Se-yeon asks why Cheonsu knows her name when she suddenly realizes that Cheonsu watched the interview and she is suddenly embarrassed. Cheonsu was taken aback by this revelation. Se-yeon, still bashful, explained that she had found his memory of the interview impressive. Convinced that Cheonsu wasn't a bad person, she forgave them and decided to maintain a cooperative relationship. Cheonsu asked if they were headed to Daejeon, based on Se-yeon's reference to it. She explained that she was given a condition by unknown individuals to save the mayor, a condition she had never encountered before, and she hadn't personally met the person in charge. Cheonsu noticed that she had dropped the honorifics in her speech, leading him to inquire about her age. Se-yeon revealed that she was 27 years old, prompting Cheonsu to reply that he was 2 years younger and would use honorifics. He found it suspicious that someone needed the mayor, especially considering the soldiers no longer obeyed him. As they conversed, Minchul spotted a silent girl lurking behind them outside the control room. Se-yeon was about to speak, but Cheonsu quickly silenced her. Viewers speculated that the silent girl had boarded the train while it was stationary. Recognizing the imminent danger, Cheonsu realized that they needed to eliminate the threat immediately. A mission window suddenly appeared, presenting a new objective: new owner's mission: kill the silent girl within 5 minutes. Reward: the ability to steal a person's vision you come in contact with for 10 minutes, single use, can choose when to activate. Cheonsu expressed his concern to the viewers, stating that 5 minutes might be too short, and he feared for his life. New owner responded confidently, saying, "If it's you, isn't it possible?" Meanwhile, another viewer was searching for Handachogwa, who had frequently saved Cheonsu's life. Suddenly, a new mission window appeared, initiated by Handachogwa: kill the silent girl within 1 hour. Reward: skill to increase the volume of your voice by 7 times, single use, can choose when to activate. Handachogwa chatted that new owners can fuck off. Nonas replied, "What do you mean fuck off? You're out of money, so your reward suck ass too." Handachogwa is in Cheonsu's side. He replied, "Is the reward important right now? Your mission puts Go Cheonsu in extreme danger." The two were fighting, and I think it will not end fast. Amidst the ongoing argument, Cheonsu decided to leave the control room and closed the door behind him. The noise of the moving train disrupted the silent girl's hearing, rendering her less effective. Cheonsu opened the skill window and activated a screen that read, "Make the person I come in contact with lose their hearing, single use, 1 minute duration." He touched the silent girl's shoulder, and she immediately retaliated. Cheonsu dodged her attack, causing the zombie to rush at him. However, the zombie couldn't locate him accurately, leading her to fall off the train, much to Cheonsu's surprise and amusement. Cheonsu double-checked if the zombie really died when suddenly it was hanging in the train. As Cheonsu was surprised, Cheonsu continued to fend off the silent girl, repeatedly shouting at her to go away while kicking her. However, the zombie couldn't hear him due to the skill he had used. As the zombie nearly reached his foot, Cheonsu resorted to stabbing it with his knife while delivering humorous comments. Finally, he managed to make the zombie fall off the train, and he expressed his satisfaction. Viewers watched in awe and commented in the chat window. A mission window appeared, stating, "You have completed the mission. Your reward has been gifted." Cheonsu had successfully killed the silent girl within 5 minutes, clearing both new owners and Handachogwa's missions and receiving both rewards. Upon his return to the control room, Se-yeon praised Cheonsu, admitting that he had exceeded her expectations by heading straight to kill the monster and by his loud screams during the encounter. Cheonsu, feeling a bit embarrassed, sat down. During his absence, Se-yeon received a radio transmission from the 7.5th Division. A flashback scene showed Cheonsu kicking the monster while screaming. Cheonsu and Se-yeon discussed the 7.5th Division's order, explaining that they would need to pass a checkpoint to ensure they were safe and uninfected. Cheonsu inquired if the mayor was mentioned, and Se-yeon replied that initially, they were allowed to go to Daejeon, but after hearing about the two of them and the mayor not being included, the 7.5th Division changed their decision. Cheonsu sighed, realizing that many things were going wrong. An information window provided 2 important pieces of information. The people at the checkpoint station were known to habitually steal from visitors, and it was advisable to avoid stopping there if possible. Additionally, between the checkpoint station and Daejeon station, there was another mini checkpoint station guarded by a small group of people. Cheonsu contemplated the situation, realizing that the recommendation was not to stop at the checkpoint station. He turned to his viewers, seeking a minor spoiler from them. He asked, "Hi Youngnims, please give me one spoiler. Tell me how many people in Jangseon are capable of taking on a fight at once." The viewers debated the spoiler's significance and decided to provide a hint. They estimated that around 5 people from Jangseon were capable of fighting at once. As Cheonsu momentarily spaced out, Se-yeon asked him with concern, "Hey, why did you suddenly stop responding to me? Is something wrong?" Breaking out of his thoughts, Cheonsu suggested, "Can't we just run past the checkpoint station?" However, Se-yeon expressed her reservations about the safety of that place, raising concerns about the trustworthiness of the people at the checkpoint. She mentioned the suspicious change in their behavior after learning the mayor wasn't with them. Cheonsu elaborated on his doubts, considering the state of the world and the possibility that the checkpoint station might have fallen into the hands of a malevolent group or a dubious military company. Se-yeon concurred, acknowledging that stopping at the checkpoint station would pose a significant risk. Realizing the dangers associated with the checkpoint, decided, "You're right. Let's go straight to Daejeon. I'm not foolish enough to head into a dangerous situation, in which we might have to fight for our lives." He then inquired about potential obstacles between the checkpoint station and Daejeon, specifically mentioning the rail switch under construction. Se-yeon explained that if someone activated the rail switch, their train would divert to the incomplete track, leading to a catastrophic crash. Cheonsu predicted that there would likely be a mini checkpoint, with individuals positioned near the rail switch. Even if they managed to bypass the first checkpoint, he believed they would be forced to stop at the second one. As they approached Dongjin Station, Cheonsu opened a skill window and used an ability that increased the volume of his voice sevenfold, intending to create chaos. When the train passed the station, Cheonsu emerged without his clothes and shouted that the train was broken. The soldiers stationed at the checkpoint were taken aback, as no one had informed them of a broken train. Cheonsu returned to the control room, where Se-yeon questioned his actions and his decision. Cheonsu explained that he wanted to confuse the checkpoint personnel, who likely lacked protocols for dealing with such situations. By relaying the information of a broken train, he anticipated that the people at the second checkpoint would also be flustered. Se-yeon pressed further, inquiring about how Cheonsu's voice had suddenly become so loud. Cheonsu assured her not to worry about it, emphasizing the importance of their ruse. As they continued their journey, Se-yeon noted that they were approaching the second checkpoint, but the zombies were still present, indicating potential issues. She suggested preparing for the upcoming situation and slowing down the train once they exited the tunnel. After stopping the train, Se-yeon and Cheonsu disembarked, and Cheonsu requested Minchul's assistance in honking the train horn 30 minutes later to distract the checkpoint personnel. Minchul agreed to the plan, promising to sound the horn and restart the train promptly. With the second checkpoint ahead, Se-yeon expressed her concerns about Minchul's ability to control the train effectively. Cheonsu reassured her, stating that Minchul's memory was exceptional. As they emerged from the jungle, they spotted a station below where 4 soldiers were engaged in a conversation. The soldiers discussed their intentions, contemplating whether to use or capture Cheonsu's group. However, Cheonsu and Se-yeon swiftly took action. Cheonsu seized one soldier's gun and pointed a knife at his neck, while Se-yeon disarmed the other soldier, choking him and then kicking him off a cliff. The remaining 2 soldiers were left terrified as Se-yeon confronted them. The chapter ended with a tense standoff, leaving the fate of these soldiers hanging in the balance. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and stay tuned. Goodbye, and peace.